welcome to another edition of Coaching During COVID-19. I'm Brian Houston. This video is brought to you by Neptune Game Time. We work with hundreds of high schools and colleges who've reached out to us when they've had problems with inappropriate music playing at their ball games. If you've had that problem, we'd love to visit with you about Game Time. You can go to our website, www.neptunenow.com, to get more details. I am real excited and privileged to speak today to the president of the Texas High School Coaches Association and one of the best coaches in all of Texas. John King has been with the Longview Lobos since 2000. He became the head coach in 2004, I believe. Has a record of 179 wins, 37 losses, a state championship in Class 6A Division II in 2018. They played in two other state championship games in 2008 and 2009. Pretty good resume, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Brian. Good to see your face and hear your voice. It's been a long time. But,
it's good to see anybody's face right now.
No doubt. I don't know about mine. I'm a little scruffy. I need to shave and need a haircut. But,
same here.
Still got to move on. But just glad to be networking with you and have a chance to visit with you. The King household with us four there is getting pretty tight. Need to get out and adventure elsewhere. But no, I'm up here at the office today. Johnny Hamilton and I are doing some stuff, trying to get our plans in place, for the rest of the spring after Friday's announcement from the governor, and what we will do with our coaches and athletes moving forward. There's a lot of things you got to get done before the end of the year, and of course dealing with the class of 2020 and those seniors, and their career here is over. I hate to say it that way, but that's heartbreaking. Just think about these kiddos, and I've had the unique privilege of watching them grow up, because my kids are in the same class. Just so happens that Haynes graduated early and was at A&M, but the guys he played with, they had their spring seasons taken away from them, and my daughter, she's a senior that will be going to TWU in the fall. So I mean, she's the whole family's contemplating on how we're going to handle her graduation ceremony, and she was scheduled to take some senior pictures, this spring, and those have been put on delay. So just a lot of things to think about from a personal side, and then of course all the seniors here at Longview High School and how we will handle, honoring them moving forward. We still got some that have to sign scholarships. We hadn't had a chance to recognize. We have some, that'll be getting Booster Club scholarships or Letterman's jackets. Some hadn't measured for Letterman's jackets, and just a lot of things. But our heart is out to them and their parents, because this is a special time in a high school athlete's life. Memories that are made for a lifetime, and they're gone now.
Coach, you mentioned earlier the announcement. We're doing this interview on April the 20th on a Monday. The announcement came down by the UIL on Friday. It was almost inevitable it was going to happen, but it still felt to me like a gut punch when you saw the actual official announcement that the UIL had said schools closed for the rest of the year and all spring sports and championships are gone. Did it affect you that way, or did you just say, well, we knew it was coming, so it's no big deal?
Well, I had a sense it was going to come, just listening to, some of the meetings I've had prior with the Coach Association. And, of course, I was privileged to sit in on a UIL meeting with Dr. Brydup and Dr. Elza, and they just kind of enlightened us on their plans. And plans, when I say plural, because I can tell you the UIL was trying to do everything in their power to play the spring sports championships. They had a plan A, a B, a C, and a D. And, of course, when the governor closed schools for the remainder of the year, those plans, went out the window. So, but yeah, it was a gut punch, because I mean, you left that glimmer of hope. Maybe we could get it in. Maybe the things going to go back to normal a little bit sooner than what we thought. But when it was finalized, it just it hit you, and it's kind of like the clock ticking down to zero, and game's over. You don't get a redo, and it's history. So I just feel for those kids and coaches and parents and just the whole Longview community, because our spring sports season means so much to so many.
What under normal circumstances I guess you'd be starting spring practice right now or real close to it.
Yeah.
What are you doing to run your program and get ready for a football season that you're not even sure is going to start on time?
Yeah, that's the first thing, excuse me, that hit me this morning, because April 20th is that's go day for us. That was going to be our first day to practice with helmets on. We were going to do it during our athletic period to get our first 2 days of practice in the spring, and this was the day. And then I wake up this morning and you start thinking about that and what I'm going to talk to the kids about, because I communicate with them normally every day on our Sports U app. It's a group deal that we have that with our team, and we're using every means we can to try to communicate with our players, whether it's through our huddle video system or social media stuff our coaches use. I have a team app and coaches app. So that was one of the things. I mean, it's today was day one, and you think about 6 weeks ago when you were planning this and the excitement that would be geared towards it, and heading into spring ball, because I mean, so many of these players on our team rely on a good spring practice to set their place with our team, also to get recruited, because there's a lot of recruiters that come through that want to lay their eyes on them in person, see them move around in drills, and they don't have that opportunity. And on another personal note, I was thinking about this senior class and the opportunities that some of these elite athletes have missed. The chance that I had last spring to go through with my own son, with the Under Armour camps, the Elite 11 combines, the Nike Open, all those things, the official visits that we took to different colleges, and they don't get to experience that. And for some, I mean, that's been a childhood dream, because they grew up watching it, and being able to be a part of that, and it's just tough.
It's your program churns out college players by the dozens every year. How are the coaches communicating with you and your kids right now?
They're doing, I tell you, kudos to our college coaches, because they are doing a great job of communicating not only to the high school coaches, but to our kids and their parents, and I think our Texas High School Coaches Association did a great job with the straight line recruiting, the last couple of years, and it's driven home a point that all recruiting needs to go through the coaches at that campus. There's just so many things that we know about a kid that maybe you can't find elsewhere, good and bad, but the coaches are doing an excellent job of communicating to us, getting information on different players that they're interested in. And then, we've had a few that committed in the last week, and we were given a heads up that, they had been offered and were close to committing, and coaches have done a great job of taking care of the kids, and they've been innovative, with virtual tours and finding different ways to sell their program to kids through maybe a Zoom meeting. It may be some type of other, virtual app or meeting or whatever they're doing. So they're like me. They've got a lot of time on their hands to come up with different ideas.
And also, I was going to ask you, there's a lot of kids that are those borderline kids that maybe aren't being looked at by D1s, but might have opportunities at the D2, D3, NAIA level, and may get passed over in a situation like this. What do you do for those kids during this time? Are you reaching out to coaches for them or on their behalf?
Well, we always do that. We've put together our senior prospectus and recruiting profile for all of our kids. We're using Next Level, the portal they have, Next Level D1, the portal, the system they have, which is really, they've made it so easy. With the click of a button, I can send all of our information to all the colleges that are interested in recruiting our school, and they have that information like that. But from players' perspective, they have to do their part too. Their huddle highlight video has to be available. Some of it may be some practice video, game video, individual video that they have, that college coaches can see them moving around. You just got to find ways to get them in front of kids. And that's what I was talking to a couple of our kids about and their parents last week. This is an important time, and I realize that. Last year at this time, going into spring ball, my son did not have an official offer from Texas A&M where he ends up signing, but it took the coach being able to come watch him in spring practice, evaluate him in person through the spring drills, and then the offer came. Of course, that's where he ends up. So it is important, and kids are missing out on that. But colleges have got to do their due diligence and do a great job of recruiting based on the information they have and the video they have.
Coach, how are you able to monitor? You mentioned daily meetings with your players right now, but as far as off-season workouts and things like this, I mean, everybody's going to be at a disadvantage when the season begins next year because they're not going to be as big, strong, and fast as they would be if you had your eyeballs on them every day and they were and the weight room was available to them. So what are you doing to help your kids try to stay in shape? Some of them don't have access to weight rooms and things like that.
There's some that do, as you mentioned, but it's all about the team and how's the team going to be evaluated. And, you don't want to have the highs of the highs and lows of lows. You want to try to get everybody back up to the same level, and that's what off season does for you. But, we don't have that opportunity now, of course, with the COVID-19 pandemic going on. But for us, we send out a weekly workout to our kids that our strength coach and Coach Garnett puts together. And it's body weight exercises, it's running, it's plyometrics, it's change of direction, it's stretching, all the things we'd be doing during off season, and our position coaches are trying to hold their position players accountable for that during this time. Some are doing it, and I'm sure some are not. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. But, we just need to get more and more kids involved with that. Our coaches association is doing a great job of sending out stuff, mental health stuff, motivational stuff, nutritional stuff through a Sports U app that we use with our coaches association, and we're getting that to all of our players, just not football players, but all of our athletes through our head coaches, and just trying to give them as much material as we can. That's pretty simple and basic to do. It's something that can be done with little to no equipment. And as far as meetings go, our position coaches are trying to hold some Zoom meetings with our players and installation of what we would have up to this point with our offense and defensive scheme.
Did you envision your tenure as the president of the Texas High School Coaches Association going like this?
Not really. I'm scheduled to officially become the president at coaching school in July. I'm still serving president-elect. That's correct. I hope we get to have our coaching school and that transformation does happen. But no, such a unique time, a special time to be able to be involved with our Texas High School Coaches Association and go through something like this. I guess the silver lining in the whole situation is me being able to see firsthand what our executive directors are doing. Joe Martin, Glenn West, and all the people that work down there in the office. They're doing a great job of communicating to our coaches with the UIL, trying to make sure we've got plans in place moving forward. We just had our March board meeting the other day on the Zoom meeting. No, it's not March, but we had our meeting to go over some things, moving forward, Hall of Honor stuff, coaching school stuff, membership stuff. These guys are working tirelessly trying to keep things moving as normal because, I mean, at some point we are going to go back to playing contests and games and having kiddos to work with again, and we need to be ready when that time comes. I mean, just like we're asking the athletes to continue working, well, the adults do too.
Yeah. I would think that your role in this thing is probably even greater now because of this situation, trying to communicate with the other coaches and provide as many resources as possible for folks to navigate this thing.
Yeah, I get a phone call here and there that people think I have some inside information, which I don't. I mean, I find out just like they do. I mean, that there's innuendos maybe that are brought up throughout some meetings, but I mean nothing official, But yeah, it's an honor to be able to serve in the capacity that I'm in. As I was elected last year at coaching school, and I want to do everything I can to help not only our association but our East Texas coaches. I mean, have their voice heard and have their ideas shared. There's things that affect us that may be different than West Texas or in a different area of the state.
And then you also are in the unique position right now of having your son who was graduated early with the intention of spending his spring working out with the Aggies, getting ready for his first college football year. How long was he at school before he had to turn around and come home?
We dropped him off in January, and he didn't come home until spring break, which he got in on March the 7th, and planned on going back about midweek during spring break. Then we got the call that all the classes had gone online, and they encourage athletes to go home until further notice. And of course, then you get a different update. So he's been home, I guess, now since March the 7th, whichever that is, about 8 weeks, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been nice to have a chance to be around him on a day-to-day basis. He and my daughter, I mean, because things move really fast, with the end of his sports season, signing, and then playing in the Under Armour game, then enrolling early. So, I mean, there was times, I mean, it was just, just one after another. Seemed like things weren't going to slow down for us, but we've caught that time back up, and I think his patience may be wearing a little thin now. After about 8 weeks, of college life and get coming and going as you please, so to speak, now you're under house arrest with mama, daddy, and sister. It's kind of tough.
Yeah, I was talking to Scott Surratt a couple of weeks ago, and he had a senior as well. And I said, well, the good news is you are getting to spend a lot of time with him, because under normal circumstances, senior year in high school, you might see that kid 5 minutes a week. And
Yeah,
you're seeing him way more than that right now.
sure. Yeah, and it's nice, but I put yourself in their shoes. I understand the frustrations that they have. I got a daughter whose gymnastics
Yeah.
season was pretty much just halted in the middle of it. She had, I guess, competed in 3 or 4 meets, and they were getting ready to go to state, which was weekend at the end of spring break, and then there's regionals and there's nationals, and all that's gone. But she has an opportunity to continue on at TW, and with Haynes, of course, missing spring practice, a chance to go through his first spring as a college football player and get adjusted to the speed of the game, and just the terminology and all the things that come with playing to the next level, and that's gone. So his first experience, hopefully will be this fall when they're getting ready to go play games, and I hope they're able to get back going midsummer, and put together a football season in the fall.
So what has John King been doing, not the football coach, but just John King, the man, to try to keep from going stir crazy right now in all of this?
Well, I've watched a bunch of reruns of football games on TV. I'm catching all the classics. My wife is getting tired of those too. But I cook breakfast, normally cook lunch, cook supper. Just those are things that I don't mind doing, as well as doing some of the honeydews around the house. Did a little work, cleaning out some closets and drawers of
Yeah.
my personal belongings. I had to make room for some new clothes, and then did some stuff around the house, some honeydews that I had not caught up on, and then just basically sharing a little time with the family.
Beyond the replays of all the college games and everything, are you a binge watcher? You find a TV series or anything that you've just locked in on and wanted to watch? Got any recommendations?
Oh, I watch some just to aggravate my kids, like Alaskan bush people. I just become a steady joke. If I scroll and it's on, I click on it just to aggravate my daughter. But there's things I like to watch that are off the cuff, but most of what I really enjoy doing is watching the replays from last year's classic football games, the best of the best and things of that. But I caught a good one last night, The Last Dance. It was an excellent.
I haven't seen it, but I definitely got it on the DVR. I'm gonna watch it.
You need to watch it, and I figure the NFL draft is going to have higher ratings in the Super Bowl because everybody is hungry for some sports.
I told my wife, I said, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are going to be a godsend, something new and unexpected, So let me ask you this, Coach, off of the COVID-19 thing. I went through your resume at the beginning of the interview. And one of the things that I mentioned when we had our East Texas Coaches Association banquet is that I've always wanted, and this is one of the good things about this thing, has been that I've always wanted to sit down with people like yourself, Scott Surratt. Later on, I'm talking to Jeff Traylor, and just ask how How do you do it? How have you managed to, I mean, Longview's always had a rich football tradition, but the excellence level that you've got going and almost since day one being the head coach, you've not missed a playoff ever, have you?
Knock on wood.
Okay.
We had, it's a lot of hard work and, a lot of luck along the way for that.
But and on top of that, you've not had one of those down seasons. I mean, a down season for you is 2 losses.
Trying to jinx
that never happens. Huh?
You trying to jinx me now, Brian?
No, I want to know how you do it.
I tell you, it's all about being at the right place at the right time. I've got, number one, great administration that'll work for. Now, and this is not coaches talk, but it starts at the top. From the superintendent to the board of trustees to the principal I work for, great setup here in Longview, Texas. And, we've got excellent facilities. We've got hard, tough-nosed kids, a community that loves their football, and, they love their style in their life mirrors our style on the field. I mean, it's just tough-ass people, and that's what we have. And I got great coaches that have been with me a long time. Stability on the staff's important, and then we've got a plan. We got a plan that works for Longview High School, a plan that works for us, what we're going to do, our style of play. And I think the unselfish behavior of our players and our coaches of putting the team first and how we go about our day-to-day business, off season, in season, summer, you name it, are keys to our successes. It's no secret potion or anything like that. I mean, we do what we do because it's what we believe in, and it's what the way we're built.
Where did you get your philosophy? Who have been your big influences?
Well, the biggest influence in my coaching career has been Pat Collins, and it's about everything, whether it's the organization part, developing a plan, being able to work with others. And when I say others, all sports, all activities. I mean, whether it's the band, the Vuettes, the cheerleaders, our ROTC program, or you name it. If it's a club or an organization, being able to work with them and just understand the importance and what they bring to your community and your high school. And I think that's important. And how coach went about being fair to everybody involved. Things I had to learn because, I was an old offensive line coach. I understood one thing, football, and, you can't coach, you can't handle people like you can an offensive line. It's just totally different. And those are two separate animals. But he was a very influential person to me. And then I played for Don Shales, which a lot of people may not know who he is, but he was at West Monroe High School in Louisiana and coached me in college. And he was a great motivator, guys that could make you do things that you didn't think you could do. And whether you did it willingly or he made you do it, he was just one of those guys. But he didn't kill me. And then my high school coaches, I had a great upbringing in Spring Hill, Louisiana. Played for Travis Farah and Spring Hill Lumberjacks, and had a chance to play in a place very similar to Longview. Of course, it was a 2A school, a lot smaller, but just the love of the game of football and that community, what those players and coaches meant, and it made you want to do something like that the rest of your life, and that's what really got me into coaching. I had a great coaching staff there. Every coach that coached me in high school had played college ball. And this was back in 1985. And we were lucky and didn't realize it at the time. We thought that was normal, and had a strength coach, had a weight room, had an all-season plan, and now you know why you won. I mean, the things we did in 1985, we still do a lot of the same things today. And we're trying to stay up with the times. I mean, and so it was a unique situation.
As far as one of the things you mentioned was staff, and I know that you just lost your longtime defensive coordinator. So did you just hire from within? Did you promote from within there? And then how did you go about hiring? I guess if you needed to hire a coach, were they already in place before this hit, or are you still interviewing people and things like that?
Well, a little bit of everything. I've lost going through the list. I knew if excuse me, after the season that our offensive line coach, C.J. Lottinger, was going to leave. He made that clear to me. He's coming back for one more, and I knew it. So we've had to replace offensive line coach. Casey Pierce left, went to Breckenridge to be the head coach. And then Randy Huffstickler, our special teams coordinator, and our safeties coach has retired as well. So I've lost 3 guys that are very important to our program. Now, to answer your question, yes, I've interviewed. We've hired a couple of people. Got a guy that's going to come back and join the staff. Chad Hancock, that was here once before, is coming back. I don't know his capacity just yet, but he's a guy that can coach kids, and whether it's offense, defense, whatever, he can coach. The defensive coordinator's position has been offered and accepted by a coach in the area, and I won't reveal the name yet because I won't let him tell his people first.
Gotcha.
But I think it'll be someone that everybody's pretty familiar with. And then replacing Coach Huffstickler, I've interviewed a few people there as well. So we're fortunate this time to be able to find quality people. I mean, not a lot of people want to do much moving right now, and I understand that. But lost 3 great coaches, but we're doing everything we can to make sure we hire 3 great ones to replace them, and I feel real confident we are.
As far as the upcoming season, what do you think the chances are that you'll actually start on time in the fall?
Well, Brian, it's right now, I guess your goals and aspirations change as the news comes out. We were saying we hope we can start June 1, a month ago. Now I'm telling you, I hope we can start July 1, back to work, being able to work our kids out. Now, what's that going to look like? Does that mean you're going to have a limit of 25 per workout session? How will that look? And if we're able to start back by July 1 and things progress with the flattening of the curve and all the testing and things they have available now, then hopefully we will be able to start our regular football season in August, which, for us will start a week earlier because spring practice was canceled, and that's something we've always had. This will be uncharted territory for me as a head coach. I've never started without spring practice. So, but that's when I'm going to rely on my coaching network and friends in the business. I mean, the Scott Surratts of the world and Kerry Lane here in Pine Tree, and guys that have done it in a different way, and get their take on it.
And as far as how much time would you need? And I know Scott Surratt had mentioned that you had communicated that you were hoping the UIL would give you guys more hours during the week to work with your kids when and if that ever, when you get back to going.
Yeah, I think they will. What will that look like? I don't know. There's been a lot of different models that they've talked about, whether we're going to continue with the 4-day work week and add sport-specific skill training with it, or does that mean we're going to add a 5th day and add more time with it? I don't know. I think if you start in June, I think it pretty much mirrors what we've done in the past in terms of a 4-day work week, and then maybe add some skill time there. If you start in July, then maybe go to a 5-day. I don't know. But I would think the amount of time that you need to get your kids ready to start practice, that's hard to say, but at least a month. I mean, just to be safe and things that we're not thinking about that we normally get to do during the spring or physical examinations for our kids. I mean, athletic physicals that, that's been put on halt, and then all of a sudden, you try to schedule something like that in June and July, and all these doctors that had volunteered their time to help you do that, and now they're playing catch up with all their patients and needs that they have with their their business, whether it's personal or working at an area hospital. So they may not have the time to do that, and then you're flooded with 100 and something schools in East Texas trying to do it in a month span. So.
On a personal basis, knowing my son lives in Baton Rouge, and I'm just curious as to how depressed you are that you can't cross the state lines to go get a new haul of crawfish.
Well, I got to get them brought over here. I was lucky. Had a friend that's got a local restaurant here that had me a sack brought in, and I had them last weekend. Matter of fact, last Saturday. and they were select. They looked like lobsters, Brian. I'm gonna tell
Oh
you,
man,
32 pounds of the best crawfish I've eaten in a while. So
I
I
imagine
need a few more sacks, bro.
you got inside connections, that's for sure.
I got lucky on that one.
That's good. Real quickly, I did want to ask you because you've been with Game Time almost since the very beginning with us, and I just wanted to get to your comments about your experience with Game Time.
Nothing but the highest regards for what Game Time brings to any athletic venue, anything that's school related. You know, like I've told you so many times, I mean, we had so many worries going on, and then here comes Game Time with this product. I mean, the clean music, the public service announcements, anything that you want to get broadcast out during any event, whether track meet, graduation, you name it. Could be walking the halls during the passing time between classes. But y'all do such a great job of staying on top of that and providing that service for us. You know, if there's a problem, y'all got a service help. I mean, which I know we've had to rely on y'all many times, you know, with some things that we didn't have going at first. But it's great. It's great for all of our athletic events. It's great for not only the players, the parents, but our whole community and our high school.
Well, Coach, one last thing before I let you go. Any advice for any coaches out there who are watching this just on how to navigate this thing right now?
The only thing I can tell you is stay positive, try to stay in touch with your kids because it's affecting them more than it is us. I mean, we're the adults and it is affecting us, but the kids, I mean, this is supposed to be a fun time for them. So stay in touch with them and try to keep them active and hold them accountable as best you can and just drive home the message that we will return one day, you know, and be ready when that time comes.
Coach King, I sure appreciate your time. I'm grateful to you for your support of our company all these years and really hope that everybody stays healthy and that you guys can get back to doing things business as usual here as soon as possible.
You bet. Well, thank you for the partnership and the great years of service, man. Y'all have done a great job. Tell Eric hello, and we look for a continued partnership and great years to come.
Coach, best of luck to you. Best wishes to your son and daughter as they prepare to go off to college. And again, I hope to see you out there, you know, yelling at kids here just as soon as possible.
I can't wait.
Okay. John King, the Longview football head football coach. I'm Brian Houston with Neptune Game Time. And again, you can check out our website at www.neptunenow.com. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Brian.